Well, thousands of fish at two Spokane County lakes could soon be killed off in an effort to revive the trout fishery. Trout fishing over the years at some inland Northwest lakes has taken a hit because they can't survive off of competing species. KXOI 4's John Hendricks working for you tonight. He shows us what the plan is and where it could be happening.
It used to be years ago that you grabbed the fishing pole and headed here to Badger Lake to do some trout fishing. Well, over the years, the non-native species have taken over. Now Fish and Wildlife wants to clear the slate, so to speak, and make these waters a trout fishery again. It's the peaceful sounds and the challenge of landing a trophy fish that bring anglers out to local lakes week after week. But in recent years, the number of anglers has dropped. The reason? The trout thereafter have become elusive.
In about 2008 is when the undesirable species in the lake started affecting trout growth to the point where the harvest rates dropped.
Fish like bass and pumpkin seed sunfish have taken over trout habitat in Williams and Badger Lake. That's caused Fish and Wildlife to cut back on stocking the lake with trout fry because they simply can't survive.
I know the relationship between the trout and the undesirables that are in here, and it would just be throwing money away.
So what do you do to restore trout populations? Wipe this lake clean, so to speak. Fish and Wildlife is looking at purging Williams and Badger Lake of all fish with rotenone, a naturally occurring fish killer. Rotenone only affects the gills of fish and dissipates in the water in a matter of weeks. Fish and Wildlife says they will likely treat the lakes in the fall, and within 2 years, the population should be back and thriving.
We manage less than 3,000 surface acres for trout monocultures, meaning the trout are the only species that we have in here. So we're pretty protective of what trout waters we have left.
They add these two lakes are perfect for raising trout and have been for decades.
You can't just make a trout fishery out of any lake. It has to have cool, clean water that's very conducive to growing trout.
They're hoping by bringing back trout to the lakes that the anglers will follow and many more fishing stories will be told from their banks. Reporting from Badger Lake, John Hendricks, KXOI 4 News.
And if you'd like more information, Fish and Wildlife has scheduled a public meeting to discuss the planned lake and stream treatments. It'll be held on July 29th. It's at the Cheney Public Library from 7 to 9 p.m.